He's Jim Miller, the author of ESPN book, Saturday Night Live book as well, and kind enough to join us here in the Man Cave. Good to see you. Thanks for making the visit here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Why cutbacks at ESPN? Give me fact from fiction, the numbers that we're looking at, and it says talent. They're going to be cutting talent at ESPN. Why?
Right. So let's be clear. Talent can also mean not only people who are on camera all the time, but, for instance, writers who, because ESPN puts a lot of their writers on television as well.
Okay.
So you got to include them as well. But it's basically just talent.
Why?
Because the times have caught up with them, in part because of these crazy deals. I mean, look, the last NBA deal was $480 million a year, and now I think they're paying $1.4 billion. I mean, just think about that. There's a weird kind of schizophrenia to it, right? Which is we're all talking about how ratings are kind of going down, and there's a lot of pressure on these networks. Yet at the same time, these deals get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I thought with the Big Ten deal, for instance, I thought, well, Big Ten's not going to be able to pull off, what they thought they were going to pull off several years ago because of all the changes. All of a sudden, like Fox and ESPN put like real money on the table. I mean, the NBA deal is enough to make you a Bolshevik. It's just crazy.
But as far as consuming this, though,
yeah.
Is ESPN and Fox and whoever else is NBC, are they still able to monetize this?
Yeah, they are. But at some point, advertisers can only pay so much, and then you couple in the other part of that magic dual revenue stream, which is, the subscribers, the sub fees, and so they've lost, over 12 million in several years. So
12 million subscribers.
So all of a sudden, starts to add up to real money. I mean, now you can convict or acquit ESPN right now at this moment in their history, because should they have seen this coming? I mean, when they were spending all that money on 3D and a new digital center and all this other stuff, I mean, should they have maybe been thinking further down the road? Absolutely. But at the same time, are they in intensive care? Are they in real serious trouble? No. It's just that we're at a moment of dynamic change.
Okay, but what would constitute trouble, Amber Alert at the mothership?
Well, I mean, look, it's trouble, but it's not like, they're going to close the place down. I mean, the biggest problem is they are not delivering to Disney the kind of multiples, the kind of money that they used to. I mean, when you look back on Disney's purchase of Pixar and whatever, I mean, there's some ESPN money in there, right? ESPN was unbelievable for Disney and for its employees. And now those kind of multiples are nowhere to be found. So you're having to re-engineer. I mean, they're having to literally come up with a new model. And they're doing it at a time of not only losing cable subscribers, but, John Oran, great reporter, reported yesterday, Facebook Live was buying like rights to the World Surfing Championship.
Yeah.
Now it's just surfing.
No, I know.
Understand, but ESPN started with Australian rules football. So that's a sign of the times. And in 3 years, when the NFL deals start to come up, there's some people at Google and there's some people elsewhere that are going to be coming to the plate. So all the old rules are thrown out the window right now.
But that's what I want to know. And when I said I was going to have you on, then people said, is it going to be just 10 minutes of bashing ESPN? And I said, no, but I have to understand what's going on at ESPN to understand what it's going to mean for the consumer 5 years, 10 years down the road, because this isn't just ESPN. You mentioned some other players that have money, Amazon, Google, Yahoo, YouTube. Like somebody's coming in and going to poach something here when it comes up for grabs. Do you see that? Do you see a la carte that's going to happen here with some of these other companies?
A la carte used to be the big thing that ESPN, when you were at ESPN, that was like kryptonite, right? Because it was like, oh my gosh. And now it's just, well, the people aren't, I mean, they're not even calling the cable company. They got Roku or Apple TV or something like that. So they're losing subscribers in a serious way. I don't know. I have a feeling, when like you go on iTunes and you want to buy an album or a song, you pay $1.99 for the song. Or we could be looking at a situation where, you go on your phone, you go on your laptop or whatever, and you buy that game. So you don't have an NBA pass for the entire season, or you don't have some big, cable bill, but you do everything from your own customization point of view. So whatever you want. And it doesn't even mean that you have to tie yourself into a particular league. You could just like you go on iTunes and pick out a song, you could pick out, okay, I want to watch the Warriors and the Cavs tonight, and I'll pay $3.99 for that game, or $2 or whatever. I mean, I think that the one thing that we know for sure is that this is an incredibly dynamic moment in time. Technology has been for a while with ESPN wreaking havoc, particularly on SportsCenter, but now it's disrupted the very foundations of the model. So now they have to re-examine.
I could see a sports vending machine where you just say, I'd like to press that button to get that game, and I get it for this amount of money. Do I have to pay more for a Cowboys game or a Patriots game, a Cavaliers game, or Golden? Do you see that where we have a 2 or 3 tiered system where you're paying a little more for something, or is it going to be flat pricing?
In a way, it could be an extension of what we see with StubHub, which is like you go on if you want to go to a game and it's a hot game, you're going to be paying more.
Yeah.
So they could have metrics where, like, if if it's a matchup between top 3 teams in each division, for instance, then it's got this kind of multiple. I mean, we see these things all over the time. I mean, Uber charges an upcharge when we're in prime traffic time. So there's no limit to that. But I think the days of just $6.50 of your cable bills, that's gone.
He's Jim Miller, wrote the book on ESPN, also Saturday Night Live, joining us here in the Man Cave. If you gave the networks a do-over, let's say 10 years ago, who do you think would have that? I guess ESPN, but what does ESPN do 10 years ago that gets them in the right position now?
Well, look, Noah built the ark before it started raining, right? So, I mean, I think they need to look ahead. Some of the things, 3D.
I'm going to need a second source on that with Noah, though. I'm just going to say, Jim.
Yeah, okay. But, look, 3D did not turn out to be the way they wanted. I think that the big digital center, SportsCenter, got lost in that vortex. I mean, it was this huge, big stage and these 2 little people, and that didn't seem to be right. But I also think, you can go back and you can look at some of the deals. But the hard thing about ESPN is they have 8,760 hours to fill. It's an enormous beast, and they have across many different networks. So it's not like they can say to the NBA, "Oh, you know what? We don't want basketball this year for the next 6 years." They can't say it to the NFL for sure, because their sub fee gets fundamentally altered if they don't have the NFL. So they're at the mercy of these leagues. I mean, I think that the hard part is watching other networks bid so much, because in a way, look at Fox. I mean, they spent a lot of money on the Big Ten deal. I mean, Turner spent a lot of money on NBA. So where are they getting that? Their model's being disrupted too. I mean, at some point, you almost think that, the networks would obviously be illegal, but get together in a room and say, hey, wait,
conspire.
We got to get some control back, because otherwise the leagues are doing a great job at dividing and conquering.
Do we care about highlight shows anymore? Fox got rid of Dan and Jay, that's the most talented team that you have doing this, and Fox couldn't find a home for them. The 6 o'clock SportsCenter, Michael and Jamel, Scott Van Pelt has his own SportsCenter as well. But highlights are readily available whenever we want them. We don't have to wait for somebody to edit them.
On our phones.
Yeah.
So, there's no barriers to entry, and we can just follow our own teams, and everything's so customized. So, look, what they're doing with the 6 o'clock SportsCenter is it's more about the personalities than it is the highlights. And that's what happens with Scott, too. You're basically tuning in to see Scott Van Pelt like you might with Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, or Steven. So, I think that's a smart move, because several years ago, you had indistinguishable, no offense intended, but personalities doing those shows, and the only value proposition was to watch the highlights.
Yeah.
Well, forget it. So, I think that they're not out of the woods with SportsCenter, but that is one of those key areas where technology is just, been like a tsunami that washed over what used to be.
Yeah, but my knock was that you could get SportsCenter whenever you wanted to, whereas before you had appointment viewing and you built teams so you would tune in for the 6 o'clock with Bob and Robin and Charlie Steiner and Keith and myself at 11, and maybe the late one with Craig Kilton. Like, so you had something there, appointment viewing.
But also, do you guys remember, you used to tease into the next segment and going into commercial. And when you come back, we'll tell you about the Giants and the Padres game. I mean, it's like Giants and the Padres game. I got every pitch right here in front of me. We were waiting to find out the score from you.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no way. So it's a totally different solar system. I mean, it's like too crazy what technology has done.
Speaking of Saturday Night Live, it feels like Saturday Night Live reinvented themselves again. Is that? I mean, they became a lot more YouTube friendly. It feels like there's these clips that you want to watch with Saturday Night Live. Is that fair assessment of Saturday Night Live?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, one of the keys to being successful for 42 years is adapting. And when Alec Baldwin hosted, they were the number 2 show, including prime time, and they did better that week than The Big Bang Theory. I mean, that's just crazy. And they got really savvy digitally, like back when the Lonely Island guys were doing their video shorts.
Yeah,
that really created a port of entry into the digital world. So a lot of people are watching the show without watching the show.
Well, Larry David comes in as Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
You got Alec Baldwin doing his Donald Trump. It feels like it's in their wheelhouse because the Republicans have now taken control politically, and it gives them a little bit more of an edge and more juice there.
Well, I think the Trump victory was a
godsend for them.
It was a great gift to SNL, and of course, Kate McKinnon is, off the charts, crazy talented. And I think one of the things that is particularly diabolical about what SNL is doing now is they have the female cast playing these male Trump administration people, which
Melissa McCarthy,
I'm told, and Kate,
yeah.
Which I'm told really ticks off people at the White House.
Oh, well, then good. That's probably what they want, right?
Yeah,
if you're SNL.
Yeah, if you're SNL, that it's probably a nice added bonus.
Most powerful people in sports media right now.
You mean like suits or in front of the camera?
In front of the camera. And I don't think anybody cares about the suits behind. I don't think anybody's going, boy, John Skipper, or Mark Lazarus. But as far as in front of the camera or just sports media in general, who would be number 1 on your list?
Well, I mean, it depends on in terms of personality or properties or whatever. But I mean, you look
if
at
there was a fantasy draft right now, you can add anybody to your network right now. Who is Jim Miller? You got first pick. Everybody's available.
I don't know. I mean, look, I think there was I think Bob Costas had an amazing career. I think that, I was glad to see he got the attention he got when he turned over the baton for the Olympics.
But he wouldn't be your first pick.
No, he wouldn't be my first choice.
You're building a network. You got to get eyeballs. Got to make money.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I have to say.
Are you afraid of saying Skip Bayless?
No, it would be Skip and Stephen A. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I'm more of a guy like I just feel like with the property. I mean, it's all about the property.
But we have debate now. Debate has replaced highlights. Debate is being embraced by everybody now. It feels like.
Have you looked at some of the numbers?
Well, I'm saying if I'm a viewer, it feels like everything is about debate. Is debate profitable? Is that sustainable?
Well, look, First Take at ESPN, I mean, this guy's got paid a lot of money for a good reason. It was an amazing amount of tonnage, which you need.
Yeah.
And it was delivering young eyeballs. Lots of cold pizza in front of those TVs. And, it was provocative. And Stephen A. and Skip, they were just saying whatever they wanted to say.
But why did it work?
Because I think that particularly with young male viewers, they loved seeing these guys go at it. And the most outlandish opinions, even if they weren't supported by fact, were provocative. Maybe one day that'll happen in politics. Oh, wait, it has. No, but I think it was enormously profitable. And not only that, but that's the thing about that is you can't get that on your phone. You can't look that up. So you're talking about proprietary material, which is why Jamie Horowitz had to pay what he paid to get Skip over or Colin over to Fox, because these are particular brands and they have their followings.
What sport would you buy stock in right now?
I mean, I still believe in. I think the NBA somehow has weathered its storm, and even though the All-Star game sucks, I think that even though the ratings may be a little down, I'd be worried. I'm worried about the NFL. If I were an NFL owner, I would actually think about selling in the next couple of years, not only because of what's going on in terms of the ratings, but there's a more serious problem, which is I know a 12-year-old kid who's 6 feet tall, and he's a gorgeous athlete. I mean, just a beautiful athlete, can throw the ball 40 yards in the air with a perfect spiral, and his parents aren't going to let him play high school football or college football. Yeah. He's going to be a power forward or he's going to be a pitcher. His parents literally looked at me and said that. So, 10 years ago, that guy's like a star quarterback in college, and then he's got the big NFL deal. I worry about the supply chain for the NFL.
Yeah, I think that what has happened as far as the concussion lawsuit, the publicity, the movie that was out, you're not feeling that for about 10 years down the road with the NFL, college football and the NFL. UFC sold for $4 billion. Is that worth the investment if it was a stock?
So now they have to go and find a TV rights deal that is going to justify that. And the question is, Fox is going to want it, but how many other players can they get involved in the bidding?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, that's a tough price. But you know what? The good thing is that William Morris Endeavor, who bought it, WME, at least they own it now. They don't have to worry about a client firing them. Their client, they own their client. So there's a lot of advantages to that.
How nervous would you be with golf, tennis?
It's all part of the larger picture, which is for some reason, and there's a lot, people used to say it was Colin Kaepernick, but no, it's happening over here. It's happening here, over here. I have a feeling that all of these sports, in their own ways, are going to be re-examining their financial models. We have a couple of years until some big renegotiations come up. Mm-hmm. NFL is going to start, in just a couple of years because the deals start coming up in 20 and 21. That's going to be mind-blowing. I think that is going to be the biggest vehicle to understanding where all of sports broadcasting is going and TV rights and computer rights and everything else.
Is ESPN the movie still going to be made?
I hope so. Script is done. We actually have a star attached, and
can you?
I'm at the bottom of the food chain. I can't.
Can you give me a hint? Things. Who, like, if it's the star, then who's playing me? Is Jason Bateman?
Oh, right, Jason Bateman. Right, that's right. It seems like a natural.
Okay,
but
that's not.
I hope. Yeah.
Okay, but the star attached is playing what role? Can you tell me that?
No.
Berman? No. Are they going to play Berman?
No.
Are they going to play Oberman?
I can't. Are
they going to play?
When I get permission, I'm trying to be trying to stay in my lane here.
Can you tell me?
Writer is
Can you tell me the period of ESPN that will be that movie will be about what period?
No. I know it sucks, right?
Why?
I know, because they just want me to be quiet, so I want to be respectful, and I want to get the bloody movie made.
Am I part of the movie? Is my character part of the movie?
By the way, there could be a rewrite next week, and all of a sudden,
okay, but right
you
now,
go from
that's okay. If I'm in the original script, I'm fine with that. Am I in this movie? That's all I want to know.
It's a little narcissistic,
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Hello. That's a lot narcissistic.
Okay, just wanted to point that out.
I'm in the movie. My time at ESPN was worth something.
Well,
I made it in the movie.
I mean, it's really the Dan Patrick story
it comes down to it. Then I know how it ends. Not pretty. Tears.
But you get past it.
I do, eventually.
There's a nice epilogue at the end.
When I'm weeping when I walk out of ESPN that day, saying, what did I just do?
It shows you at a bank cashing a check with a big last laugh. I think that's the epilogue.
I think, yes, that laugh was something like this. Something like that. All right, he's Jim Miller, the author of ESPN and Saturday Night Live, and also he has written the script for ESPN the movie. And he's not telling me anything. It's great to see you, Jim. Thank you for stopping by.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.